Yo boys, DDB here, and today I'm going to be bringing you my Survival Hunter guide for Season 1 in the Warvin. We're going to be going over things like their talents, hero talents, gearing, rotations, and a bunch more. But before we start the video, make sure to hit that like and sub button, helps me out a bunch. Right, let's get into it. So first we're going to look at the general tree for Survival Hunter. Most of this is going to be utility based and situational at the end of the day, and it's going to be up to you what you want to pick, but I'm going to note some key talents that I think you should be taking. So in the first row, we'll have a look at post haste. This is going to give you disengage an added effect to it, removing you from movement impairing effects like slows and roots, and when you land, it will give you a 50% increase speed for 4 seconds. This also helps out of our mobility a bunch and gives us obviously a way to get out of roots and slows. On the fourth row, we have survival of the fittest, which is our defensive cooldown. We should always take this pretty much as it's a 30% DR, and along with padded armor, this will also give us 2 charges of it. Specialized Arsenal will increase our bomb damage by 10%, and below this is Explosive Shot, giving us a nice new AoE button for burst AoE. Biting Shot can give us some nice utility for sometimes it will need it, where we'll be like kiting mobs or maybe there's fixates, and that'll like kind of stop them and stun them. Black Shot Munition will increase our Explosive Shot damage by 8%, which isn't massive, but is a nice bump. Keen Eyesight will increase our crit by 4%, so this is pretty much a must-have. Trigger Finger will increase us and our pet's attack speed by 5%. Straight Tips will give us 5% crit from all sources, so another nice DPS bump. And finally, we have Unnatural Causes, making our dots deal 10% more damage and also give them a sort of execute effect, increasing the effectiveness by 50% also when targets are below 20% HP. Now let's move on to the actual spec tree for survival. Again, I'm going to be picking out most of the notable talents here, and not all of them. So first up we have our bombs. There's going to be a heavy amount of our single target damage, and even more so for our AoE damage. This will be like a direct impact damage at first, and it'll also leave a dot on the target. Guerrilla Tactics will give our bombs 2 charges and increase the on-hit damage. Tip of the Spear will be an effect you'll play around quite a lot in your rotation, and you'll probably notice later that I'll explain a lot about it. This will make it so our kill command increases the direct damage of our spells by 15%, and most of our abilities like our bombs, explosive shots, raptor strikes will remove a stack from this. This can also be stacked up to 3 times, but it doesn't remove all stacks at once. When you use like an ability, it'll just remove 1 at a time. Mongo Spire will replace our raptor strike and initially be a bit weaker, but you can now stack this with something called Mongoose Fury, which will increase the damage of our Mongoose Spire by 15%, up to a maximum of 5 times. True will be mainly for AoE and paired with Frenzy Strike to reduce our bomb cooldown by 1 second for each target hit up to 5 seconds. So pretty much the more targets, the more bomb cooldown you'll be getting when you're pressing your butcheries. Flanking Strike will be an ability that you want to pair with your Tip of the Spear pretty much always, as it gains a 15% increased damage from it, and it will also generate 2 stacks of Tip of the Spear. Grenade Juggler will be the most notables in AoE, where our bombs have a chance to cast Explosive Shot at a target, and Explosive Shots now reduce the cooldown of our bomb cooldown by 2 extra seconds when the actual Explosive Shot explodes. Viper's Venom will make it so our Raptor Strikes apply Serpent Sting to the target, and we can even run Contagion reagents to apply Serpent Sting on multiple targets at the same time. For the bottom part of the tree, this is where stuff sort of gets interesting, and you can either go left or right here, but you pretty much always pick up the middle talents. So first we'll go over the middle talents, which have our major cooldown being Coordinated Assault, which will cause us to leap to the target with our pet, giving us a buff that will increase our damage by 20% and giving our kill commands extra chance to reset the cooldown of our actual kill commands. From here we have Bombardier, causing us to gain both charges of our bombs back when we cast Coordinated Assault, and when this ends also we gain 2 explosive shot charges for free. Last part of the middle tree is going to be a choice node between 2 options, one being Relentless Primal Ferocity, causing our Coordinated Assault to make our kill command generate 2 stacks of Tip of the Spear instead of the usual 1, and increase the damage of the tip's effect by 50% extra. And then finally this will also give us 10% increased haste. The other choice will reduce the cooldown of our Coordinated Assault down to 1 minute, and cause us to instantly gain 3 stacks of Tip of the Spear when we use our Coordinated Assault. For the left side of the tree, this is mainly going to be AoE focused. So one of the options is Fury of the Eagle, which will be a channeled spell that causes damage in front of us in like a cone, and it'll have increased crit chance against targets below 20% HP. Below this is a Ruthless Marauder, causing our Fury of the Eagle critical strike bonus to apply to targets that are instead at 35% instead of the 20% usual. And critting with our spells or assault reduces the cooldown of our bombs and our flanking strikes by 1 second. So you can get some big CDR here if you're hitting a lot of targets at once. On the right side is more single target focus with Spearhead being one, which will command our pet to attack the target and bleed it, increasing our crit chance against it by 30% for 10 seconds. Below this also paired with it is Deadly Duo, reducing our Spearhead cooldown by 30 seconds and causing it to also increase our crit damage to the target by 30%. Now let's move on to the new addition to the War Within, which will be the hero talents. First up, we're going to have a look at Sentinel. So the first node is actually called Sentinel itself, which will cause our attacks to have a chance to spawn like an owl to the target, and this owl can like put a debuff on it and it'll stack up to 10 times. This will also mean when the stacks actually reach past 3, applying it again will have a chance to cause the owl to implode, which will just cause extra damage. Invigorating Pulse causes our Sentinel to have a chance to generate 5 focus for us. Below this we have Crescent Steel, causing targets below 20% HP to gain a stack of Sentinel every 3 seconds, alongside another choice node which will be Overwatch, making it so Sentinels implode on targets that hit 20% HP when affected by more than 3 Sentinel stacks. Symphonic Arsenal causes your Butchery to deal some extra damage as like arcane damage, which is quite nice. Capstone we have Lunar Storm. So every 15 seconds our bomb casts summon an owl to conjure like a storm on the target. That's like a 10-yard AoE sort of thing. This will cause a random target that has a Sentinel in the Lunar Storm that has stacks to be dealt extra damage to, and this will also increase our and our pet damage dealt to them targets by 10% for 8 seconds. Second option is Pack Leader. This will give us Vicious Hunt, causing our kill commands to deal extra damage to the target. Pack Coordination will cause our pets to hit with their basic attack after a Vicious Hunt has occurred, and this will also happen after we press Raptor Strike. So basically your pet will just be dealing more basic attack damage with this. Whole Herd will cause our kill shots to deal an additional 60% of its damage over 6 seconds as bleed damage, and increase our pet and us's damage to the target by 25%. Beast of Opportunity will cause our Coordination Assault to cause forth a pet from our stables every 6 seconds. And to be honest, the rest of this tree is just kind of all about, buffing your pet dealing more damage, a bunch of bleed effects, and yeah, stat increases pretty much just for your pet. But the capstone is Pack Leader, causing our Vicious Hunt and Pack Coordination to also stack 2 times, and this will always be active during our Coordinated Assault. So both talents to be honest are pretty much just passive and damage will just happen without you really thinking about it. Pack Leader will have more emphasis on dealing pet damage and leans more into you pressing your kill commands, while Sentinel is all about spawning owls dealing extra damage for you, to be honest. You probably like here to know what's better. Well, at the moment Sentinel's in every way at the moment a lot better than Pack Leader. This is mainly just due to Sentinel just dealing a lot of damage on its own, and then Lunar Storms are just dealing a crap ton of damage also. So yeah, if you care just mainly about strength, just pick Sentinel. But if you do enjoy like a pet sort of play style, maybe you want to try Pack Leader. And then finally for the talents, you're probably wondering, what am I running in raids, M plus, whatever. Well, this is the current best single target sim in spec. And for AoE and Mythic Plus, etc., you have kind of like 2 options, with this first one being my favorite. Or if you kind of just want less buttons and more emphasis on like your dots doing damage, then you can go with this one instead. So for the next section of the video, we're going to be going over our gearing. So firstly, for weaponry, you're just going to want to try to get your hands on whatever the highest item level weapon you can get at the time. You can actually get like a big weapon from the Spark system if you craft one. However, this will cost you 2 Sparks as it is two-handed. For trinkets, our best in slot is going to be coming from Grim Batol, with it being Skardin's Grace, which will pair with our Coordinated Assault for a big burst every 2 minutes. We have a few other options with our second trinket, with the things like our famous Algeth'ar Sack Brood that pretty much everyone's running, as you've probably noticed. This trinket is just really good in general, to be honest. Powered Crystal will be another good trinket for us, giving us a random secondary stat when it procs. You can sort of get shafted with this, however, if it gives you like a bad stat that you don't want. But yeah. For a raid trinket, you can go with Void Reaper's Contact, which will cause our abilities to have a chance to summon a Phantom, also to deal damage for us. For enchants and consumables, it's highly advised to sim yourself, as every character is going to be different, and something that's best for like one character might not be for another. but I'll give you like a TLDR of what you could run. So on your weapon, you're going to want Authority of the Depths. Crystalline Radiance will be for your chest. Stormbound Armor Kit for your legs. And then rings, you'll be wanting Radiant Mastery. For the consumables for flasks, you'll be picking up Alchemical Chaos or Tempered Mastery flasks. For our DPS potion, we're going to be going with Tempered Potion. On our weapon, we'll be using Iron Claw Whetstones, which will increase our attack power. And then for food, you're going to be wanting to find as good as feast as you can get. For gems, you need to make sure that you have at least one culminating blasphemite, and the rest you'll just fill with deadly onyxes, which will be mastery and crit. In terms of embellishments at the moment, Dark Moon Sigil Ascension is going to be our best choice. The only thing is that you need to be putting this on a weapon, like a crafted weapon. So if you do that, you can put it on obviously your weapon. And then for the second option, you can get Riving Armor Bandings. This will just double down the effect of the Ascension on your weapon. If you don't want to craft a weapon, however, you can always go with Dawnthread Lining for the extra crit when you're above 80% HP. But obviously this does have a condition with you needing to be 80%, so keep that in mind. For stats, once again, you should pretty much just use raid bots to be honest and sim your character. But as a general rule, you're going to be wanting to look to go for Mastery, into Crit, into Haste, into Versatility. And finally for our tier bonus going into Season 1, this will be it. So our 2 set will increase our Wildfire Bomb damage by 5%. And then our 4 set will increase our Raptor Strike damage by 10% to targets that are afflicted by wildfire bombs. So they're pretty simple, but it is Season 1, so it's kind of to be expected. For the final part of the video, which will be our rotations. So I'm going to be doing both the rotations as Sentinel, as it's currently obviously the strongest and most people are going to play it. The two main differences between Sentinel and Pack Leader is pretty much instead of casting your Raptor Strikes, with Sentinel, for example, you'll just be casting kill commands for Pack Leader. So first we're going to have a look at the single target. I'm going to have a spell tracker active also so you can see what I'm pressing as I go over what's going on. So firstly you're going to walk in and cast a Mongoose Bite. This will apply your Serpent Sting to the target. From here we'll spend both our bomb charges. Now we'll be popping our Coordinated Assault and casting a kill command for 2 Tip of the Spear stacks. This will also, as you'll notice, not consume a Tip of the Spear stack. Next is going to be Flanking Strikes to bring us up to 3 stacks of Tip of the Spear. And now we'll be spending our 3 stacks of Tip of the Spear. We'll be pressing our bomb into an explosive shot into another bomb. From here we're pretty much just going to be spamming as many Mongoose Bites as possible whilst trying to keep at 5 stacks and casting kill commands to gain Tip of the Spears in between. Again, once bomb comes off cooldown, you'll try to be pressing this and make sure you have a Tip of the Spear stack ready for it. After a while, Coordinated Assault will drop and you'll have 3 explosive shots to spend. Just try to get as many Tip of the Spear stacks into these explosive shots as possible, without also trying to overcap on things like your bombs. From here it's just similar to the cooldowns where you try to be pressing your bombs on cooldown with Tip of the Spear alongside your explosive shot with Tip of the Spear, and trying to not overcap on your kill command stacks, and then also trying to get your Mongoose Fury to 5 stacks quickly and then just spam out a bunch of them. Once again you'll be pressing your flanking strikes also with a Tip of the Spear, as again it gains extra damage and it will give you 2 extra stacks. So yeah, quite a bit to take in, and you've probably also noticed that you're trying to buff as many of the hard abilities as possible with Tip of the Spear. As like I said earlier, a lot of the gameplay actually revolves around Tip of the Spear in like a min-maxy sort of way. You may also have noticed me using Harpoon Strike and wonder what the fuck I'm actually doing, but there is a talent that will give us 20 focus over 10 seconds when we use it. So if you do notice yourself like running dry on focus and you don't really have anything to press, you can also just walk out of a melee range, cast Harpoon Strike. It'll do a bit of damage and also give you the focus over a little time. Now onto the AoE. Also note to note that I'm going to be running the Fury of the Eagle talent. So firstly we're going to walk in and spend both of our bomb stacks ASAP. We'll be pressing our Coordinated Assault into a kill command and then a flanking strike. Then we spend a bomb stack into an explosive shot into another bomb stack, similar to the single target. Here we cast a kill command to gain more Tip of the Spear stacks, and we'll be doing a Fury of the Eagle cast into another bomb. From here, all of our cooldowns are kind of out of the way, so we'll be pressing our butcheries to reduce the cooldown of our bombs even further. And then once again try to cast our bombs with Tip of the Spear. I will note that you could save your Fury of the Eagle for when targets start to get low, dealing the extra crit damage to them. as this probably will lead to more DPS in general, and obviously it will reduce the bomb cooldowns even further. But depending on what kind of content you're doing, it'll obviously depend on where you're casting this. So if stuff's living a lot longer, probably just try to skip the Eagle cast, and then instead go to like a butchery cycle where you'll just be reducing the bomb cooldowns. Again, when cooldowns are ending, you'll have 3 explosive shots to spend, and again, try to get as many tip of the spears stacks into these as possible. It will be hard, however, getting like a bunch of tip of the spear stacks into this, as you're just obviously spamming butcheries and bombs throughout the majority of your cooldown window. From here on out, though, it's just reducing the cooldown of your bombs with your butcheries, spending your tip of the spear stacks on your bombs, explosive shots. You'll probably also notice that I'm rarely casting Raptor Strike in this build, and that's because it's not really doing much for this build that I'm running at the moment, at least. In the other build that I showed, where it's a lot more dot heavy focused, you probably will try to press Raptor Strikes a lot more just to apply Serpent Stings to multiple targets. But yeah, again, to be honest, there is quite a lot going on in the rotation. So if you like learning the spec for the first time, I would say to try to not to worry about too much at tip of the spear, as it is a very min-maxy thing to deal with. But just try to incorporate into your playstyle once you're feeling comfortable with the spec. So yeah, boys, that was my guide on Survival Hunter in the War. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and if you have any further questions, don't be shy, just comment down below, and I'll try to get back to you ASAP. Other than that, as usual, smash that like button and the sub button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.